Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Keenan, CEO and owner at Coaching with Melissa Keenan. I help women to deepen into intimacy and step into the embodiment of feminine energy to increase their intimacy, expand their impact, and deepen their income. So, you guys, I know this is super controversial. Lots of fun here that we're going to delve into. And I think I'll probably have a couple listeners who are listening out of curiosity to hear what I have to say. Don't burn me at the stake yet, okay? Because I know it's almost like a trigger word when we talk about letting our husbands lead. I led a discussion earlier this week here in Women Helping Women, and lots of women shared their opinions about where do we allow our husbands to lead. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. Most women said, let them lead at their strengths and I'll lead at my strengths. And it's this great, give and take that we have. And I think that's a great recipe. But I'm speaking specifically to women who are strong leaders in the world. Like, we already know how to be strong leaders, and we spend a lot of our day, every day, leading. So if that's you and you're watching, you're in the right place, say hi in the comments. I'd love to hear who's here and who's watching. Because I'm speaking to this because it's vital. Because what I find is that women in this situation, if they're also leading in a lot of things at home, they're probably feeling pretty burnt out. Like they're running at the end of their rope. Like there's no time left for themselves. There's no time left for the things that they enjoy. There's maybe some resentment in the marriage because they're doing so much of everything. And it's interesting, like every home is different, right? And you know what, whether we're in a feminist day and age right now or not, like I still find a lot of women in homes where it's like, yeah, we both work full time and I'm still expected to do every little thing at home, right? It's like we're still a little archaic in some of these ways. And then I see women who swing to the other side of the pendulum, and so their husbands are doing everything at home while they're, also working and stuff. And then their husbands maybe are the ones who's carrying a little bit of resentment. I also see women who say, there's no leadership. We're equal partners and we both do everything together as a team. And I think there's some cautions with that. Can you see how that might get a little tricky in your own relationship? Has that gotten a little tricky? Because I know that was the case for us. I was so like, no, like I will not have defined roles because I am not a 50s housewife. And like, right, I showed up like that in my marriage years ago. And what happened was there was a lot of stepping on toes. I was pissed about how he did the laundry, and he was pissed, when I wasn't picking up on things he thought I was going to do, and I was pissed when he wasn't doing the things that I wanted him to do, and we weren't. It makes things really complicated. I don't think we have to swing to the other side of the pendulum, you guys. There's a happy balance in here. And I'd love to hear in the comments, if you relate with any of those dynamics, share a little bit in there about what is the dynamic that you've seen in your own relationship. So from that space, let me tell you about the benefits of, you guys, of like, am I nervous? What am I? I want to paint this in a way that you understand where I'm coming from. I know your feminist heart and it matters. And also, this is a tool that will support you. When we show up in our relationships the same way that we're showing up in our businesses, it is going to exhaust you at some point. And it's also fueling the disconnection that you experience in your relationship. One of the problems with neither of us are leading, we don't need any leadership in the relationship, is that it strips, whether you know it or not, you're still leading. It strips this opportunity away from your husband to have a powerful influence in your family, especially if you have kids, right? Because it's beautiful for your family to be led by him at times. It's also beautiful for your family to be led by you at times. That's great. That's all wonderful. Okay, so let's break this down even more. A woman who's constantly in leadership, constantly giving, always feels like she has to be the strong one, that she's there for everyone. Can you see how that's a recipe for burnout? So what are the things that keep us from finding a new balance, a new flow in the relationship? The number one thing I see keeping strong, powerful businesswomen from actually like accepting some help, some leadership in their partner is lack of trust. And that may have to do with past trauma. That may have to do with, the dynamic of the relationship and what the two of you have been through together. It may have nothing to do with him and the relationship and everything to do with just like the way that you have gone through your life. As a woman living today, we kind of all have a chip on our shoulder, whether we've experienced intense trauma or not. At some deep level, we struggle trusting. And you may be saying, no, that's not my problem. My problem is my husband refuses to lead. But here's the thing about that. If you always step in when there's a need, then there's no reason for him to step in. He has it's like you've already taken up all the space. So even if you come to him afterwards, like upset and demanding, he's like, but you already did it. And then we're all guilty of this one. He steps in, he does something, and you're unhappy with the way it was done. And it's like, it's easier for me to just do it myself. Right? These dynamics, they hurt. They hurt the marriage, but they most of all hurt us. They do. They hurt us. So if we're to step into a new way of being, which I feel like society and the changes in energy in the world right now, so many women are being called into a new way of being. It's like our hearts are being pulled deeper into our callings, pulled deeper into intention and our power, and we're recognizing the importance of standing up right now, standing in our truth right now. You guys relating with that? Are you feeling that call right now? If we're going to show up in that way and show up in a new way of being, we don't want to exhaust ourselves anymore. We're not doing that in our businesses anymore either, right? A lot of us are feeling like, I don't want to exhaust myself in my business anymore. I don't want to hustle. I don't want to be in that. There's a higher way. Same in our relationships. And it actually starts in our relationships, in our marriages. Oh my gosh, it's so powerful, you guys. If you can step into accessing trust, even if it's not trust in your spouse, because maybe he has actually busted up that trust a lot, but it's trust in the universe and allowing, receiving. You see these words I'm using, very intentional. Allowing, receiving. These are feminine energy rooted words. It's time, and we're being called to step in and expand into feminine energy. That there's a new way of showing up. And you've probably experienced that even in your business. It's like, the cold calls or these older masculine structures in business. They're just not serving. They feel crunchy and tight. And same in relationships. And this is not about you disempowering yourself or becoming like a doormat. That's our biggest fear right now, isn't it? I don't want to be a doormat in my marriage. But it's like we're judging our husbands based on people that they aren't even. They aren't even that person. It's like we're judging them based on patterns we've seen in our history, in our ancestry. Those things are in our DNA, right? And yet, can you find a space in the middle that feels really good? So can you actually think of your husband right now? Think of what is that next piece that I would just love him to lead on. I would love to see my husband shine in leadership, in his own divinity, in his own sacred masculine. What are those things right now? Bring those to mind. If you want to share and you want to be vulnerable and you actually really want to call it into the universe, you could put it into the comments. It's nothing more powerful than speaking it into being, right? So what are those ways that you want to see your husband show up more, support you more, lead in the family more, even lead in his own business more? And then I want you to ask a hard question of yourself. Where have I not allowed that? That's our hard question we're going to ask of ourselves today. Where have I not allowed that? Okay, as you're pondering on that, I want to read through a couple of these comments here. And again, if you're feeling like you really want to make some changes here, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear what shows up for you. All right, Dee Dee. Isn't that how it goes too, right? I remember hearing this story in Dee Dee's share. Thank you for sharing that vulnerable share with us. I remember hearing this story and it was so powerful and it has stuck with me all these years of this woman, Mormon lady. I bring that up. I'm Mormon. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and very common for Mormon women to be like these do it all, be it all kind of wives, right? Like everybody sort of knows, like when you think of a Mormon woman, if you know what that means, it's like, oh yeah, So this woman, several children, let's say 5 children, I don't remember exactly how many there were, and she got sick quickly and died. So her family went from being this very strong family unit, and they all only relied on her to do everything. The laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, the spiritual leadership, the family unity, the trips, the family connection, like, right, everything, all the schedules, all the extracurriculars, everything depending on the woman, right? And she died. And that family fell apart. The husband didn't know what to do. He literally, none of the kids had been taught anything about how to do the things that she did. And they fell apart. Several of the kids ended up living with aunts and uncles. The whole family was split up. What a tragedy. And I mean, I don't say that from a place of judgment. I mean, I'm sure that woman was just doing the best she knew how, but it's like, wait a second, hold on. So no, we're not talking about, right, we actually need to find out what is in alignment for us in our feminine flow, in our feminine energy. And it's not about, these black and white roles. It's really not. It's about you identifying, where are my husband's strengths? Where does he feel his strengths are? And where are my strengths? Where do I get to show up really, really in my power, in my relationship, and what I've seen often? So I'm going to make some stereotypes about men and women now, which I know everybody loves in this group, but these are patterns that I've seen, is that women tend to be strong in intuition. They tend to be really good at nurturing when they make the space and allow that for themselves. Right? So I love to show up in my intuition in my family. I love to make the meals because it's a way that I nurture. I actually love to do that. These are some of the things. And my husband is very, like, he's very stereotypical. Like, I want to provide, tell me I'm doing good, like caveman kind of, I want to show that I can protect my family and stuff. So when it comes to things like locking the doors at night, it's like, hey, like, I look to you for that, because that's where that matters to you. It matters to you a lot. I look to you to to be the provider. And what does that mean? Even though I'm the breadwinner, what does it mean for my husband to be the provider? How does he step into those roles? So we just get to break this down in our own way and follow our intuition with this. Does this land, you guys? Okay, I want to read this next comment here. Angela said, jumping around a little bit, I relate a lot to your story. In our relationship, we both carry some kind of leadership depending. Sorry, my screen keeps jumping. On our time and the circumstances that appear in our daily lives. Almost always take control of finances and legal matters of both businesses, his and mine. Sometimes I feel like I'm on the side of Wendy. Peter Pan syndrome. I don't actually know what you're referring to, Wendy. And so he's like the one that playful and like out and carefree, and you have to be the like responsible one. Yeah, so I mean, as you share that, it sounds like there's a little bit of imbalance there, right? Like, I actually want him to show up in some of these ways, and I feel like I have to do it all or it's not going to get done. So, yeah, I want to see my husband shining in his leadership. I want to see him leading in finances. So huge. Okay, I want to bring up one last piece about this, and then we'll wrap up today. And you guys, if you're loving this conversation, come and join us in Women Manifesting Intimacy. It's a much more intimate space where we can talk about these things as business women, about our relationships. And how many spaces do we get that, right? Where we get to actually talk about our personal lives and our relationships and the power and stuff that we're bringing into the world and our callings and our businesses. So I want to speak to one more part of this. As you check in with this and you identify what's really in alignment for you to be in your feminine energy, as you step into some of those things, it's going to cause like an earthquake in the relationship. There's no way around it. When we're shifting things around our roles, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's not impossible. Ever. But it is uncomfortable. It's like, it is like, shifting the tectonic plates, right? It's like, I've always been the strong one. I've always done these roles, and he's always fallen into these, to these other roles of whatever it is, right? Being the Peter Pan or making all the meals or whatever. Like, I've always done these other things, so he just falls into these places. And when you step out, there's going to be some gaps there. Lots of space for communication with that, right? But also there's going to be errors. There's going to be it's going to be frumpy and difficult. And you may go through this and you may think to yourself, I don't know if we can make it. Don't let this be like the tragedy that splits up your marriage. If you make a decision to step more fully into the feminine, know that it's going to cause discomfort in your marriage, and wait it out. Give it some time. Like, be in this, feel in this, and know that it's going to take some dedication on your part. It's going to be so easy to step back into taking over the finances, right? Or taking over these roles that you have often taken over. It's going to be so tempting to slide back into the disconnection and resentment and stuff that's there. And you don't have to. So that is why I hold a space for women who want to step more fully into their power, in their feminine energy, in all areas of their life, because we need a container for that. We need a container that constantly reminds us, oh yeah, I don't have to hustle anymore. Oh yeah, I don't have to be the leader of my husband. I lead people all day. I don't have to be his leader too. Or micromanaging, or all of these pieces, right? I don't have to be in charge all the time. What a friggin' relief, right? We need a container that can hold us in that, gently guide us, remind us who we are. So we can come back to our intuition over and over and show up more in alignment with who we really are, which is allowing our husband to show up as who he really is too. Does this land, you guys? So if that speaks to you, again, come join us in the Facebook group. But even more than that, you're in a million Facebook groups. We all are, right? Like, the most powerful step you could take is to book a quick call with me. let's sit down and talk about the dynamics in your relationship and what you really want to see. What is your heart calling you to? What are your heart's desires? And let's talk about what it would take to create that. What's preventing you from creating that? Why haven't you guys done that already? Why haven't you been able to step in and embody your feminine yet? Or to that next level, right? So I'll go ahead and I'll put my link in the comments here. It's just calendly.com/Melissa Keenan. Loved sharing this time with you guys. Yes, thank you, Sunday. Is that how you say your name? Shoot, again, it's like every time I touch it, it clicks like all over the place. Letting go of control takes some communication. Yeah, right. And he felt manipulated, right? It does take communication. Huge. So important. And yeah, thank you guys for showing up. I would love to hear what your takeaways are from this. If you are committing into this feminine space, like, please reach out. Please don't try and do this alone. That's actually not the feminine way. Feminine way is community, and to link arms with each other and support each other and build each other up through that deep connection. And on the other side of this, you guys, is this beautiful dance of masculine and feminine, where we're both in our purpose, we're both in our power, and we're leading. We feel good about the way we're parenting our children. We feel amazing about the way we're showing up in the world and how we're stepping into our callings and how we're impacting. That's what's possible. Deep connection like that. It's so amazing, and it is not a fairy tale. It's real, and we can have it. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.